podcast series 2. In this series, we are listening to and reviewing a band's entire discography, currently doing Bring Me the Horizon. This episode, we are listening to their 2015 release, That's the Spirit. This is about where I stopped listening to them. Everything after Sempiternal, I literally know nothing about. There's a couple of tracks kind of later on that I've heard just out of curiosity, but this is the first album that I literally know nothing about. So I guess we'll just kind of get into some background info here. There actually is something to kind of go over here. Apparently, this is very loosely a concept album about just depression and trying to make light of it in some way. This is also kind of marks the end of their kind of suicide season metalcore sound. They've completely moved on from it at this point. Just going over some of the influences for this album, Radiohead is listed, interestingly enough. How about that? But yeah, I don't know anything about this album. I'm curious to see what it's like, especially hearing that they've kind of abandoned the metalcore sound. I've definitely heard some of their more recent stuff off of, music to listen to and post-human survival horror and that one track that's in Death Stranding, which I actually really like. But yeah, curious to see how this album stacks up. So without any further ado, we can get into track number 1, Doomed.
All right, so if you listened to any of the previous albums and were expecting something the same, I'm sorry in advance. We lost all of it. I want to first, Jordan's influence through this album on the synth and the technological sounds, the sampling, is incredible here. He does so much work. I mean, the first third of this song, I don't know that there are any actual instruments. I think it's all Jordan on the synth. This very much becomes the Ollie and Jordan show. I think the lyrics are good. I think the music sounds good. I guess it just kind of turns me off that it's not at all the sound that you would expect from Bring Me the Horizon. It's very slow, very melodic. It's not bad. It's just kind of feels out of left field if I hadn't heard this album before.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, looking at Genius, not something that I realized before was that uh that they put this one as the opening specifically because they wanted to make it blatantly clear that this was not going to be like their previous albums. And yeah, this first track does a pretty good job of relaying that to you, I think. Also, fun thing I did not realize is all the sound samples in at least the beginning and the end are samples from drug scenes featured in the 2000 film Requiem for a Dream. Never knew that. But yeah, like Ted said, Jordan is doing a lot of heavy lifting on this song, and just on this album in general. He has a very heavy influence over this album in general. I personally love their more, I guess, maybe more melodic, more softer kind of sounds too. I do genuinely love Ollie's singing voice, and it was loved hearing it. Yeah, and then this is still kind of a continuation of them taking their albums, their lyrics more seriously. It's not the party scene as at all anymore. It's a very much different now. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, I think if you were going to listen to this album when it came out, this would definitely be something that would kind of split the fan base, I think. I don't think the sound is too terribly different, but it is, I think, different enough that you're either gonna be on board for it or not. I don't hate this, actually. I think this is all right. As far as alt rock, whatever goes, this is all right. You could even say I may even like this. So we'll see how the rest of the album goes. So track number 2, Happy Song.
All right, so I remember when this song came out. I think it was the second single released for this album, and I remember being like really excited when it came out that like it was just going to be a more melodic version of the last album. Um, Now I obviously think that I was duped because a lot of this is much more melodic and less heavy, but this still has some like upbeat aggression kind of to it. It's not nearly as aggressive. It's so much more approachable than anything on Sempiternal was, to be honest. But to listen to it now that it's been out for what 8 years, I guess. This song's just super repetitive to me. Like the guitar, I think is the exact same throughout the entirety of it. It's just one riff, just on repeat. You hear them spell spirit and say that's the spirit about 1.5 million times. Like it's just kind of the same thing over and over and over.
So yeah, like this one. This one also did. I was maybe not confused isn't the best word, but um, the song's very interesting because it definitely has its like kind of slow parts, but then it has its definite energy and a breakdown that I still pretty like. Because I'm almost positive. I think in the beginning of that breakdown, before we get to the actual drop, I think there's like a violin playing in the background. I could hear some kind of string instrument that wasn't a guitar in the background. I thought was kind of nice. It's just kind of it's always kind of interesting being able to pick up those small kind of things that artists like Ollie and Jordan like to put in here that you sometimes don't pick up on the first hearing. Um, I still like this a lot though.
I think it's fine. I do agree that it's maybe like a little repetitive in some spots, but I mean it's not bad by any means. It's just okay. Uh, Track number 3 is Throne.
I really like this one. This one is upbeat and fun. I really genuinely enjoy this song. It very much reminds me of like the same kind of like techie synth as "Can You Feel My Heart" off the last album, but this definitely has a much like happier and faster tone. I think the lyrics are good. They kind of fit the theme of the last couple of songs. Like again, got to give Jordan his credit for really getting his hands on this album. But this is just a really good song. It's upbeat and fun.
Yeah, this is another one of the singles off the album, and that's no surprise, just based off of how upbeat and catchy and melodic this song is. It's really no surprise to how popular it got. Um, I'd say that this is probably a good in between, like kind of transitional song almost. I'd say between like Sempiternal to now. It has a lot. It has a good bit of their old sound, but also really lets Jordan continue to have his way, I guess, with the synths and electronics in this album. Yeah, I really like this one too. This is one of my favorites off this album, personally.
I really like the synth stuff going on with this. It's like song doesn't have to be like too complicated. Like it's just a fun song. Like it's good. I don't mind it. Where are we at? Track number 4, True Friends.
All right. I really want an instrumental version of this track. Like I think the guitar, the synth, there's like a violin type sound that goes through the whole thing, the percussion, all of it's really, really good. The lyrics are way too corny and I can't fucking get past it. If I hear one more time, true friends stab you in the front, it just man, just get over it, dude. Like it's he says it like 85 times. It's so repetitive, it's so corny. Just stop. But the music's really good.
Yeah, all he needs to make up his mind. Which one is it? Is it stabbed in the back or stabbed in the front? Which one are these friends doing? Because it seems like he's having both experiences here, Ollie. You're not being very clear here. But yeah, to be serious, yeah, this song is a little corny with its flip of the common idiom, being stabbed in the back, true friend stab, that's it's a little corny and cringy for Ollie having talking about his addiction and depression. I mean, it still relies into that kind of theme, but just the reverse of the idiom is it's a little cringy, but yeah, the instrumental and the music is really really good. Like I've always said, I love use of string instruments that aren't typical, and the use of the violin and other string instruments is very, I don't know, exciting. I like it.
Yeah. I do agree that the instrumental is probably the best part of the whole track. The lyrics I could take it or leave it, honestly. Do also like the little string stabs in the background. It's always nice when those are there. But yeah. I think if this was just purely an instrumental track, it would be significantly better. Let's see. Track number 5. Follow You.
So you can drag me through.
All right, I find it really difficult to be objective about this song. So I want to start by saying that I very much love this song. Like, this is absolutely great, but this is not a song that I would venture into Bring Me the Horizon for. Like, even on their softer, slower, gentler stuff, like, this still just doesn't fit anything else that they've ever done. It's not bad. I really love this song. I guess for me it's difficult because it's something that I would listen to off, like, a really slow, sad emo band, right? But there is nobody that would make this chorus sound better than Ollie. And it's really difficult for me to separate the reasons that I like this song, the reasons I don't like it being Bring Me the Horizon, and why I have to give them credit for writing it anyway. Like, it's a really good song. It just kind of, it's strange that I like it so much, I guess.
Yeah, I really love the instrumentation, just the whole, just everything put together. I love the way that Ollie sings. I just love his singing voice, like I've said. This is, I'd probably say, maybe almost the strangest or most maybe unique song that Bring Me the Horizon would have made up to this point, or at least the past couple of years, because this is just a straight love song, like pretty easily interpretable, just literally talking about following someone to hell. I mean, it's not hard to get to that. So I mean, for someone who constantly writes about love and relationship problems, to hear one in this kind of context is interesting. Not to mention, because I also am almost positive that that Ollie and the person that he was talking about in this song divorced a couple years ago, I think. So that's kind of, well, but I mean, yeah, music wise, I love this song, but it's very odd to be a Bring Me the Horizon song.
Yeah, up to this point, given everything we've heard, like, I wouldn't have expected them to write something like this. But I mean, it's not my cup of tea personally, but it's okay, I guess. Like, as far as, like, I don't know. I guess I'll just leave it at it's not my cup of tea, but it's all right. I don't hate it. It's just not my favorite kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Track number 6. What You Need.
So it wouldn't be a Bring Me the Horizon album without some sort of violent lyrics. That bridge at the end just felt unnecessary and over the top. Honestly, though, I find this song super forgettable. It's not that it's bad. I guess it just doesn't really stand out in any way to me. There's nothing like super special or unique about it. It just kind of is.
Yeah, I feel like Bring Me the Horizon. I don't ever like calling their songs this, but this feels somewhat like it was put in here as a filler. It's not bad by any stretch, but yeah, Ollie then has that kind of interestingly cringy, maybe not cringy, but corny bridge there at the end where it's like, that came out of nowhere, Ollie. Thanks for that. Um, but I mean, instrumental wise, I mean, I like it, and I think that the chorus is, I mean, honestly, surprisingly catchy every time I hear it. But other than that, it's not awful, but it's definitely not my favorite on this track list.
Um, I don't hate this, but yeah, I kind of agree with Ted. It's nothing really stands out about it. The song's just kind of okay. I feel like we're basically like halfway through the album at this point. It's kind of been like a sort of mixed bag at this point. I feel like most of the songs are like they're not bad by any means, but there's nothing really super special about them. Like there's maybe one or two tracks so far that are like better than okay, but they're not I don't know, they're not incredible or anything, you know. So let's see, track number 7, Avalanche.
I really like this track, but I guess I kind of fall into the same trap as the last one. That it just kind of is a little bit forgettable. I think the instrumentation's really good. It stays pretty upbeat. I think the lyrics are true to form with the rest of the album, but I think it just kind of gets lost because a lot of these songs by this point in the album just kind of start to sound the same. I do enjoy it. Like there are certainly positives more so than the last one, but it just doesn't like it doesn't stand out as well as I would like it.
I like this one. I like this one quite a lot, which I think might also have a little bit to do with the fact that I can relate to what he's saying in the song with depression and ADHD. It's just like, yeah, everything in that he's saying is just shit I've said to myself in the fucking mirror in the morning at some point in my life. So, yeah. Maybe that makes it a little bit like higher on my list than the one before this one. But I genuinely, I don't know how many more times I can say that I genuinely love Ollie's singing voice. But I don't know how much more I can say about it. I love the instrumentation. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, just kind of similar to the last one, I think. I think that the instrumentals so far have been fine. The lyrics are kind of hit or miss, but here I also can relate to them as well to some degree. Kind of feeling like a broken record here. Like I don't hate it. It's just fine. It's all right. So track number 8, Run. From what? Dare I ask?
So take a deep breath, let's disappear. No one will listen.
I for the most part, you could just kind of cut and paste 1/3 of this song, paste it 2 other times, and then you have the song. It's another one that's pretty repetitive. Um, Jordan's influence on this is really good. Like I think the synth and the sampling is really solid. Um, it's just another one that falls kind of flat, much like you said, Mike. I feel like a broken record. Just kind of this one just kind of is.
Yeah, this one I think actually does kind of sit in that similar space for me this time. I do like Jordan's continuous work on the album, but there's just something about this that is just kind of, I don't know, forgettable. Like out of all the tracks on this album, this is the one that I don't think I could name that it was on this. There's a couple songs on the album that I don't think I could name off the top of my head, and this is one of them. It's just not super memorable. I mean, they have a couple other songs that have this very similar vocalizations that also sound sampled with some more heavier like synths. So I mean, I feel like there's elements in this that they've done better elsewhere. So not bad, but just not their strongest on this album.
I will say I do like the kind of darker electronic sound going on with this, but again, kind of just running theme. I don't hate it. It's just okay. Getting very close to the end here. Third to final track, number 9, Brown.
Again. Who will fix me now?
I love this track. Drown is really good. I think it's the best parts of like lyrically on this album. Like that kind of we're sad but it's okay kind of vibe. It's definitely got a really big bold sound. I think it's layered really well. There's a lot that I like about this song. I will say that like there are still parts that are repetitive, but if I'm not mistaken, this was the first single from this album, and it still holds up as being like the big excited one about this release. Like I still love this song.
Yep. I love this song. This is probably one of my favorites off this album, and I don't know what else to say. It has a very good like build up into it. It has a lot of emotion to it. This is probably one of the more like one of the songs on this album that I can feel all these emotions like the most. Maybe. Um, yeah, I enjoyed this one a lot. It's one of my favorites off the album. Like I said.
This one is throwing me for a loop. Would it be accurate to say that this is like borderline pop punk in a way?
Give or take,
Almost. Yeah. Okay. Interesting to hear them attempt to do something that sort of sounds like that. Huh.
yeah. I'd say it's a little like more arena rock than
Yeah.
pop punk. It's missing that
Yeah.
like upbeat kind of element to it, but it's not far off. Yeah.
It's similar to some stuff I've heard at the very least. It's not 100%, but it's got some
Okay.
elements of it for sure, I think.
Mhm.
This one is interesting. I like this one. Anyway, track number 10, Blasphemy.
All right. Of all of the boring, repetitive shit that we have heard all album long, I think this one takes it. This song genuinely bores the hell out of me. I don't know that there are any positive redeeming qualities I can give it. It is cut and paste boring.
I'd say that I don't mind the chorus. I mean, that should usually be the least you can say. I like the chorus. I like Ollie singing in the chorus, but other than that, yeah, this is just sort of a boring kind of skippable track for me. This is if Run is the song I don't remember, this is the song I remember but I skip. I don't hate the song. It's just not the same as the rest of it. It doesn't hold up to the rest of the album.
Unfortunately, we are back to being just kind of meh again. That's all I need to say about that. Final track, number 11. Oh no. I hope that's not going to be my reaction to this song.
I don't know if, based on what we heard, there was like any really great way to end this album, but this certainly wasn't it. I do like this one. It's another one that's like kind of weird that like I I I don't like that Bring Me the Horizon did it, but I do like that it exists. And since they like I have to like it, you know. It's got like an 80s alt pop vibe to it, which is pretty good, but then there's also like a random saxophone kind of really at low volume thrown in there at certain points, which is kind of strange. Like if you're gonna use it, just fucking use it. I don't know. I do enjoy this one, but it's a really weird end to this album, and it also kind of just sits funny even by itself.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder if Ollie has a thing against like ending an album like in a like I don't know super satisfactory way. It feels like every single album so far we've been like, this album's been great and I love this song, but why is it the last song? Because I genuinely love this song. There's something about Ollie's voice and his lyrics here that is just like an earworm to me, and I will hear that fucking chorus for the next until the next album. I'm gonna hear this fucking chorus in my head. And I also have a weakness for saxophones in songs that aren't. Yeah, I like the saxophone. I like this song. I personally would have ended this album with Drown, I think. That felt like a good ending place. I mean, I guess this one's nice because it's really upbeat but I don't know. I still like it a lot though.
Regretfully. Oh no. Yeah, I don't know that I would have ended this album this way either. This whole album has just kind of been, wow, this is as mediocre as it gets, huh? Um, I this was really just not memorable in the slightest at all. Like I've forgotten most of the songs on this album, to be honest. There's just nothing that stood out about anything that I heard for the past 45 minutes. Well, as far as rankings go, there's a hot competition for dead last. But I think that this is very slightly above Count Your Blessings, but not by much. And then just kind of reverse order from there.
Yeah, I'm with you. This one just kind of sneaks in at fourth. I guess I'm less down on this than you are. Like it's not awful. Like it just isn't good. There are redeeming qualities. Like there are upsides to this album that I really can't give Count Your Blessings unless you're into deathcore, right? Like it's confidently in fourth for me, but it's definitely fourth.
Yeah, I'll be the third disagree. Well, the third change because I'm gonna rank this below Sepaternal, but I'm gonna rank this second, below Sepaternal and above everything else. Um, I personally, I'd say that this album it sits weird for me only because I like a lot of these songs individually. Like, there's only a couple songs on here that I am not like too big of a fan of, but this I think that also it's in this spot maybe for nostalgic reasons. This came out in like a particularly good time. Well, not good time. A time for me to consume this album a lot. So this is also, I guess, part of that. That's probably a reason why. So yeah, I'd say Sepaternal, this, then everything down.
Nothing else to talk about other than that. 2 days after we are recording this, I will be seeing Tesseract, which I am very excited for. So I'll be talking about that next episode.
Nice.
I got nothing else. Ready then?
Yeah.
Well, we can wrap up. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.
Peace.